Meritokrasi dan Kesediaan Kaunseling Kerjaya, and Disiplin Diri, Moral dan Kesihatan Mental. So we will look through bidang tumpuan ni satu persatu lah. So total, actually kita ada 120 minutes, kita kena minus the 15 minutes yang dah lambat, tapi tak apa, we'll try to see how we can able to squeeze in all this topic within the stipulated time. So perhaps we will take about 15 minutes untuk introduction and 30 minutes untuk setiap bidang tumpuan and 10 minutes for Q&A and the last 5 minutes to wrap up, ya. So let me start dengan before kita masuk ke dalam topik, I would like to do some introduction on the participants as well as the facilitator and rapporteur. So my name is Durga, pegawai tadbir di IPPTN, mewakili sekretariat untuk simposium ni. Hari ni kita ada our rapporteur Cik Nur Husna binti Muhammad Zabidi, who will be taking note on all the all the topics that we'll be talking. After that, I would like before kita mula, I would really love if all the participant can able to switch on their camera, because kita setakat ni ada 3 orang sahaja. So it will be good if we can able to see each other. Tapi it's still up to you guys. If you guys want to just switch off the camera, is fine. First of all, boleh dengar ke?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, Miss Chia.
Hello.
Okay, so let us start dengan introduction of the participants. Miss Chia, would you like to start first?
Just a while. Yeah. Hello everyone. I'm Xia. Currently, I'm final year student from UPMs, and I'm major in environmental management, bachelor degrees of environmental management, and yeah, actually I'm in an internship period with my company at Malacca, but because of the lockdown, then I'm now actually in a work from home mode.
I see. Okay, that's nice to hear. Let's move on to Encik Lukman. Hello, Encik Lukman.
Hi, hello.
Hello. Ya, kita boleh dengar Encik Lukman. So
Okay.
mungkin boleh intro yourself.
Hi, my name is Lukman Al-Hakim, and I'm a first year student from AUM. Right now, I'm in I'm at the home, and during this holiday, I'm doing nothing. So that I'm joining this symposium. So that's all.
Okay. Cik Lukman, I boleh nampak half of your face only lah Cik Lukman. Mungkin you kena adjust your camera sedikit.
Okay.
Okay, better. Yeah, better.
Okay.
Okay, so we move to Puan Nur Zamzarina. Hello. Hello, Puan Zamzarina, are you there? Hi. Puan tak dengar lah, Puan. Puan, kami masih tak dengar audio. Rasa Puan Zarina have some technical issue here. Hello, Puan Zarina, can you hear us?
Hello, boleh dengar saya?
Ya, Puan Zarina, boleh.
Okay. Saya Cik Zamzarina daripada UIM, College Universiti Malaysia, Counseling.
Okay. Right. Okay, so currently kita hanya ada 3 participant. Tak apa, kita akan mulakan dulu tengok siapa-siapa lain yang masuk ke dalam virtual room ni ya. So let me just explain one more time because Cik Zarina came in a bit late. Kita ada 3 bidang tumpuan di sini iaitu Lost Boys, Kumpulan B40 and then Meritokrasi, Kesediaan, Kaunseling, Kerjaya dan juga Nombor 3, disiplin diri, moral dan kesihatan mental. So kita akan compartmentalize this ikut bidang tumpuan and we will go one by one. Let us start dengan the first one. So tadi daripada panel discussion, the session earlier ni, they have mentioned that IPTA dan IPTS within the country, terdapat banyak yang, we couldn't house many of our kids, our student ni dalam pengajian tinggi. And most of the kids categorized into B40. So, these are kids yang kita rasa mereka tak dapat opportunity untuk ke tertiary education atas banyak faktor yang macam Cik Sunil, Dr. Gesh inform sebentar tadi. So let us just start. Apa pendapat daripada peserta di sini on the current state of this lost boy? Why do we actually call them lost boy? Apa yang kurangnya? What do we able to ideally apa benda yang kita nak tengok mereka? Dari sudut mana kita nak tengok mereka? Maybe we can start with Cik Zarina sebagai pengalaman daripada as a counselor.
Okay, kalau daripada pengalaman saya sendirilah, selalunya pendidikan awal di rumah tu yang membentuk, budak punya karakteristik. Maksudnya dia punya individualistik dia tu, apa dia punya karakter dia berbentuk daripada awal. Maksudnya daripada pendidikan awal dia, daripada kanak-kanak lagi kita kena didik, kena bentuk dia secara kena bagi dia punya pendedahan yang sewajarnya yang dia perlu tahu daripada kanak-kanak lagi. So bila daripada situ, bila dia ada pendedahan awal, bila dia bergerak ke arah dewasa, ke arah belia, so dia punya signifikan dia dia lebih memahami situasi yang dia akan alami in future. So maksudnya bila dia ada pendedahan daripada kanak-kanak, step by step lah, maksudnya it's not like overall bagi masa kanak-kanak, maksudnya step by step kita bagi pendedahan sedikit demi sedikit berkenaan dengan what is dia punya career, apa yang dia perlu ada, what is karakteristik yang dia perlu build up dalam diri dia, something like macam kalau dia extrovert kan, so apa benda yang kita kata extrovert tu, so itu yang maksud saya lah.
So maksudnya macam Cik Zarina berpendapat pada masa ni kita tak ada pendidikan awal untuk
kita ada tapi
tidak mencukupi maybe.
Tidak mencukupi, yes. Pendedahan tersebut tidak mencukupi.
Right, okay. What about Miss Tia?
I'm actually seconded to what we mentioned by Puan Zarina just now, because the environment to introduce some into the university is very important. It's either your family environment in your house or even the school environments that actually encourage you to enter the university. Like you come up with some certain of motivations to push you, to motivate you to further your studies in tertiary education.
Okay, but what's your opinion on the categorization of B40 are the groups that's the biggest group that they call as the lost boys, those group that they don't have the opportunity to enter the tertiary education. What's your state on that? I mean, the stigmatization is the right stigmatization to be done?
I think yes, with the situations in Malaysia now, it's quite relevant to what happening now in Malaysia, those coming from the B40 groups, I think they are the most, I would say, vulnerable teams when we're talking about the opportunities to enter to university. Because as comparisons to others group of social economics groups of peoples, I would say there are less exposures to what we say, the importance, the significance to be enrolled in tertiary education.
Okay. Cik Lukman, apa pendapat Cik Lukman on situasi ni?
Okay, ada pendapat saya lah tentang situasi Lost Boy dengan B40 ni. Mereka seharusnya diberi support lah, terutama daripada ibu bapa mereka dan kawan-kawan mereka. Ini kerana dengan situasi pendapatan mereka yang rendah ataupun kekurangan support akan memberikan mereka lemah semangat ataupun tiada motivation untuk menyambung pelajaran ke peringkat yang lebih tinggi. Itu pendapat saya lah.
Okay. Selain daripada pendapat, macam tadi Cik Zarina have mentioned that kita kena ada pendidikan awal, daripada awal kanak-kanak ni harus didedahkan kepada cara pembelajaran yang betul atau cara pendedahan kepada career path mereka. Selain daripada itu, apa lagi yang kita boleh buat untuk close down the jurang daripada situasi sekarang dengan apa yang kita ideally nak lihat di masa hadapan. Mungkin any one of you could just start? Or maybe I'll proceed back to Puan Cesarina because you are the counsellor here, you see. So you should have seen many cases that coming in macam ni. So I rasa experience you will be a better kickstart for this session.
For me, yang I nampak lah daripada sudut kita punya education sendiri, Malaysia punya education kan, kita memang ada the basic yang kita bagi kepada kanak-kanak, you know, like dia punya start daripada pendidikan awal tu memang kita ada, but yang diorang perlukan adalah something yang moral support diorang yang menjuruskan kepada minat diorang. So kita kena identify apa minat dia daripada kanak-kanak lagi, you know. Kalau I tengok daripada selain daripada Malaysia lah, negara luar, kebanyakannya pendidikan awal kanak-kanak diorang tu lebih mendedah kepada kursus yang try something new dekat kanak-kanak tu. Contohnya start with belajar menari daripada kanak-kanak. Tengok kalau dia minat menari, bagi dia punya orang kata apa, pendedahan, you know, kalau menari macam ni, you punya orang kata skill yang dia kena gilap, you know, something yang dia kena ada. So kalau dia minat music, what kind of alat music yang sesuai dengan dia ataupun yang dia boleh minat. So kat situ dia boleh search daripada awal, career dia ni sebenarnya macam mana, apa yang dia minat. And then maybe a little bit role play with the children, you know, parents kena take part lah this one, role play apa yang kanak-kanak tu suka. Mungkin dia first time dia kata dia nampak macam dalam TV like suka doktor, so belilah peralatan dia something gadget yang boleh dia orang play with it, yang nampak dia punya tu, first dia rasa tak minat. So kat situ dia boleh search daripada awal dah apa sebenarnya yang dia boleh orang kata apa, dia punya jalan yang sesuai untuk career dia. So build up from that. Itulah pada pandangan saya. It's not like kumpulan B40 je kan. So yang lain pun macam tu.
Itulah, that's the thing. Macam B40, macam categorizing to B40 is rasa macam terlalu narrowing down because benda ni bukan untuk B40 sahaja. Any category of the kids akan go through the same situation.
Yes.
Yeah. Miss Chia, what's your call on this?
I would think we are lacking of diversities in terms of preference towards which field that they want to further study on. For example, I would say most of the parents would probably ask their children to go for those pertinent industry like engineers, doctors, lawyers, pharmacists. But instead, in reality, there are more than that. There are much more fields that we are the parents that didn't look into, which is also play a great roles in the industrial world one day. So I would say they are their preference are just focused to that particular these certain fields of people. When they say I'm come out as a project managers, I'm having a bachelor degree in management, then I will be a lower grade than those coming out from doctors holding a degrees of doctors or engineers. You say there is I don't know,
A benchmark.
what to say.
A benchmark.
Yeah, a benchmark. They're like looking
Stereotype
down
of
to certain
thinking.
industry, but the others they are higher gradings than the others.
Right, right. Yeah. Encik Lukman?
Okay. So saya rasa lah kan, golongan B40 sekarang ni, terutama yang Lost Boys, mereka ni dia ada, pertama kan mereka, pendapatan mereka terlalu rendah. Kalau mereka nak sambung ke peringkat pengajian yang lebih tinggi, yang halangan yang pertama adalah kewangan, di sudut kewangan. Dan kerajaan, kerajaan sepatutnya memberikan inilah bantuan dari segi kewangan yang lebih lah pada golongan ini, dan tidak sepatutnya mencaratkan keputusan yang cemerlang, contohnya kerana kebanyakannya beasiswa yang ada kat Malaysia ni dia lebih mengutamakan golongan yang mana mereka mendapat keputusan yang cemerlang lah dalam peperiksaan, terutama dalam SPM ni terutamanya. Jadi kalau kita lihat negara-negara luar macam di Europe, France ataupun di Timur Tengah, kebanyakannya pendidikan mereka di peringkat universiti adalah menilai murah lah ataupun diberi percuma, diberi beasiswa oleh kerajaan mereka. Jadi saya nampak kat situ halangan yang pertama ni dari sudut kewangan. Yang kedua dari segi mereka punya nak kata pencapaian mereka dalam peperiksaan yang tidak begitu memuaskan, terutama ni di tingkat SPM. So jadi apa ya, nak kata inilah kerajaan inilah harus mengurangkan bebanan kewangan kepada mereka ni. Itu je lah.
Okay, so kalau saya nak conclude this whole bidang tumpuan pertama The Lost Boys dengan kumpulan B40 ni, first and foremost kita nak cakap that this is only experience by B40 is something that yang terlalu narrowed down. So sebenarnya semua kanak-kanak dalam Malaysia ni is going through this. Apa yang perbezaan is their upbringing daripada kecil. Rasa macam sekarang ni these kids are not given a chance to explore potensi mereka dari kecil. So kita macam minta mereka follow sahaja di school. Apa yang berlaku di school kita macam bagi mereka follow sahaja without actually going into individual karakteristik, apa yang mereka suka, apa yang mereka tak suka, and tumpuan kebanyakannya in the academic line, bukan untuk kemahiran, skill and all that. Ini yang menyebabkan kita ada the jurang perbezaan antara kriteria untuk masuk ke pengajian tinggi. They got tercicir because academic mungkin mereka tak begitu too high on the academic, tapi mungkin mereka adalah lebih berpotensi dalam benda-benda lain, co-curriculum atau personal skills, tetapi bahagian itu tidak didedahkan. Yeah, it's not exposed. So mungkin in future kita boleh tukar sistem kita, sistem pembelajaran atau sistem pemilihan ke pengajian tinggi yang lebih holistik daripada hanya concentrate on the academic sahaja.
kadang-kadang kita nampak benda ni nampak macam simple things, but sebenarnya kita tengok daripada sudut parenting itu pun yang paling penting pendedahan kepada ibu bapa itu sendiri. What kind of thing that you have to orang kata bagi kepada kanak-kanak tersebut, sebab kadang-kadang kumpulan B40 I know about kita mungkin keuangan tak mencukupi apa-apa, so dia punya fokus lebih kepada okay dah cukup bagi duit, bagi something, you know, keperluan everything, so dia tak nampak keperluan daripada sudut karakteristik kanak-kanak kanak-kanak tersebut, macam mana nak build up dia orang punya, you know, nak tengok, nak search apa career yang sebenarnya yang sesuai dengan anak dia punya karakter, anak dia punya, you know, the child punya passion, you know, minat kanak-kanak tersebut. So kadang-kadang dia tak nampak lah benda-benda macam ni, sebab dia lebih tumpu kepada okay, kalau you jadi doktor, kalau you ada ni, you punya apa pendapatan you terjamin, you know, you kalau you doktor, okay, you punya tangga gaji macam ni. Dia dah ada macam perspektif macam okay, kita kena macam ni. So dia akan arahkan kepada anak tu untuk ikut dia punya way yang dia rasa dia pengalaman dia, experience dia lebih untuk kanak-kanak kan. So sometimes the way of parents thinking pun kita kena orang kata bagi pendedahan lah pada parents.
Betul. Betul. I actually agree with that.
Others ideas regarding the dissections of the social communities, instead of separate into B40, top 20s or middle teams of 40 peoples, why not we focus on the indigenous peoples and by region, you know? Because in my past experience, I volunteer myself in some of the education programs with the indigenous peoples, and I would say they are more vulnerable in saying to exposed to tertiary educations, and some of them not even going through the secondary, not finished their secondary educations, and the access to education is quite limited as compared to what we say here is the B40s groups.
Yeah, basically like if it is not about academic, you put them into like vocationals, or you know, you train them on other skills.
Yeah.
Right. It's a good one. Cik Lukman, you have any last say before kita move to the next bidang tumpuan kita?
Tak ada.
Okay. Just a quick one. Cik Husna, are you still with us? Yes. Okay, so I hope that you are jotting down the points. Tapi tak apa, if it is not able to, we can recap back later, yeah? Right. Okay, so let's move to the next one, which is meritokrasi and kesediaan kaunseling kerja. So di sini, just give me a second. So tadi daripada sesi panel dengan moderator and the ahli panel kita, one thing that was very starkly mentioned was cara kita klasifikasi our merits on the students. Macam mana kita bawa masuk pelajar-pelajar daripada sekolah menengah kepada pengajian tinggi. The merits that they are using is solely academic, which even sekarang pun masih lagi kita tengok tahap akademik mereka untuk tentukan bidang mana untuk mereka masuk, atau universiti mana yang mereka boleh masuk, atau mereka tak ada dalam golongan of masuk ke dalam any university because mungkin akademik mereka tidak membantu mereka untuk ke Menara Gading. So what's your say on this? Is it right kita buat macam there is this academic merits or the whole merit system kena tukar? What do you think of the system now and what should be there? Apa jurang yang you nampak untuk kita boleh tolong these kids untuk you know, further their education in whichever skills or whichever line they are? Okay, any one of you can just roll the ball.
Kalau saya lah, pada pendapat saya sendiri, kalau kita tengok daripada sudut kaunseling itu sendiri kan, orang kata memang daripada sudut psikologi kita tengok kan. Tapi kalau kanak-kanak itu sendiri bila kita wait.
Okay, I think
Hello?
Cik Zarina has a... hello, yes, Cik Zarina, can you hear us? Okay, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Ada calling masuk ni, sorry. I use my
Okay, no
handphone
problem.
right now.
Yeah.
Okay, maksud saya macam kita punya daripada peringkat sekolah tu masa peralihan ke antara sekolah tu nak ke IPT itu sendiri, memang kadang-kadang saya ada dengar perkataan late bloomer dalam masa penceramah kita tadi kan. So panel-panel kita tadi, so maksudnya it's not like kanak-kanak ni bagi saya kanak-kanak lah kan, sebab dia orang baru nak masuk ke belia kan. So kat sini sometimes dia punya late bloomer tu yang menyebabkan dia terkandas awal tu, sebab kita tak buka ruang dekat dia pada tak buka peluang untuk dia masuk ke alam universiti, sebab disebabkan dia punya failure masa SPM, mungkin SPM result dia tak bagus, atau STP result dia tak bagus. So kita dah tutup laluan dekat situ nak bagi dia tak boleh nak masuk ke IPT. Because dia punya kelayakan, faktor kelayakan masuk tu tidak mencukupi untuk dia masuk. So kat situ kadang-kadang kita dah orang kata bagi peluang tersebut kita dah tutup untuk mereka masuk. So kat sini kita mungkin kena tengok orang kata search lah apa yang menyebabkan sometimes yang memang berminat untuk further study tapi because of dia punya education dia tak sampai untuk dia nak further, dia punya kelayakan dia. So mungkin kita boleh buka peluang ini kepada individu-individu yang masih berminat untuk further studies. Because sometimes dia late bloomer, right? So kita tak tahu, mungkin masa dia dekat universiti baru dia ada, dia punya perkembangan dia bagi lagi bagus kan? Itu ya maksud saya. Sebab sometimes kita terlalu, bila kita dah bagi kata result for this one, tak boleh masuk sini. Oh kalau tak cukup ini, kita tak boleh further for this one. So mungkin kita kena tengok, bagi peluang kepada pelajar yang berminat untuk further study, tapi mungkin dia punya result dia tak cukup power untuk bagi dia untuk further study. So kita buka peluang kepada mereka. Sebab it's not like everyone, ada yang memang result bagus tapi dia tak berminat untuk further study. Kita tak boleh nak, orang kata apa, tak boleh nak tekankan lah. Kadang-kadang kalau kita bagi kat dia orang pun, dia orang masuk universiti pun just nak, just lah parents suruh masuk, just tak ada minat nak dia punya build up dia punya career everything. So but kalau individu yang berminat tapi dia tak boleh masuk ni, dia lain. Dia akan usaha, bila dia dah masuk tu dia akan ada usaha, kembangkan dia punya soft skill dia, kembangkan diri apa yang dia perlukan untuk career dia. So bila kat sini kita nampaklah perbezaan dia di alam IPT bila dia belajar.
So talk about this, saya nak share one simple experience on my own personal experience. So bila I was in Form 5, kita tak ada macam counseling kerjaya di sekolah. Dari sekolah menengah tidak provide for us any counseling kerjaya. So apa kita buat is dengar apa parents yang beritahu. So masa tu parents just tells us that okay, sekarang ni this is like 20 years ago ya. Demand untuk in future is computer science. So you ambil lah computer science. Padahal pada masa tu computer science is something new to me. Tak pernah dengar. Tapi kita masuk juga. And at the end of the day, dalam pengajian untuk computer science tu, saya berpendapat I felt like I was not into it. Saya tak berminat langsung. But dah mula ambil and we have to move on and we need to finish the education and we just go on and scrape through the whole pengajian tersebut. So ini adalah salah satu masalah yang saya rasa kebanyakan pelajar di sekolah menengah is facing. So apa kepentingan bahagian kaunseling kerjaya yang perlu diwujudkan di sekolah menengah by itself, because tak pasti sekarang ni mereka ada this session for the students di sekolah. We have no idea on that.
Pada pendapat saya sekarang dekat sekolah memang ada pendedahan untuk career pathway pada pelajar lah. Cumanya is sometimes tu dia kurang, orang kata apa, macam for me lah, you know, bila kita 15 tingkatan masa tu tengah nak ambil SPM everything, we don't think about our career. Sometimes we just think about habislah SPM ni, nak tamatkan SPM ni, nak you know, nak for next steps everything. So basically dekat sekolah tu sendiri kena ada slot yang you know pendedahan yang bari tarik minat pelajar tu sendiri untuk tahu we have this kind of career, you know, kita ada job yang macam ni, kita ada I punya personality sesuai macam ni punya kerja, you know, that part is dekat sekolah tu kena ada daripada awal lah, maksudnya biar dia orang dah ada pendedahan tersebut, and then bila the next step dia dah tahu dah, you know, I want with type yang I choose to be khusus apa yang I nak ambil masa I further my studies dekat degree ke diploma ke kan. So kat situ bila dia orang dah nampak, dia orang akan pilih sendiri. But the issue is kat sini kebanyakannya macam Puan cakap tadilah, sometimes parents yang buat decision making. Dia macam okay, I nampak kat sini ada peluang sains komputer, nampak ada peluang kerjaya yang bercerah, you know, nanti you keluar you ada kerja, you know. Sometimes that type of thinking parents, so dia minta anak dia ikut jalan dia, ikut cara dia. So itu yang even ada pendedahan tersebut tak cukup, kanak-kanak anak tersebut macam dia okay tak apa, ikutlah cakap parents. So dia punya career pathway dia tu dah tak tahu. So sometimes bila dia dah masuk that diploma, dia dah ada dalam situasi dekat IPT, and then baru dia sedar, because this one I don't like this kind of things kan. So mungkin kat situ baru dia nak tukar dia punya arah tujuan jalan dia. Because my personal experience, but because I have my diploma in marketing actually, but after that I don't like the industry, you know, the way in marketing. So I jumped to counseling because I feel that comfortable with the apa yang I belajar, apa yang I rasa sesuai dengan I punya personality, I punya orang kata the way of saya punya, kita punya orang kata orang kata personality diri kita dengan career kita, career path yang kita pilih tu.
Actually I experienced the same thing as well, because on halfway I rasa that management was a better skill or better pembelajaran for me. So I got the chance to change to management. Tapi berapa career yang kita boleh tukar macam tu in halfway? Katakan you masuk engineering and later on you realise you are actually into law atau medicine. So the pertukaran is really very huge and you already wasted so many years in between. So this will be a problem. So kita move to Miss Chia. Before that, Miss Chia and Cik Lukman, feel free to interrupt at any moment here, because this is like, you know, it's a group discussion. Yeah, just get into the game. So Miss Chia, what do you think of this whole situation now?
I would like to quote what been mentioned by one of the panels just now on during the secondary educations, we only focus on the developments on the left brain. It's more the logical part, and then when enter to the university, they start to ask us to use our right brain. You know, the right hemisphere we have long abandoned it aside, not using it, and then suddenly when enter to the university, they start ask us to be creative, intuitive, and innovations all the times. And I think that is where it appeared to be a challenge for most of the university students. They used to receive instructions, but when they come to university, they don't know how to work on their own. And talking about how they want to decide on how they want to develop their careers after the secondary school. I think most all of us here have experienced that, and I would take the examples of what I observe when I attend to one of the exchange programs to China countries, which is Chongqing's province that time. And I'm to be honest, I'm inspired by how they, starting from secondary schools, how they promote their students to tertiary educations, and also at the end, they will end up with compromising market demands once they have graduated. So that is how they go. First, from the secondary school, they have different indicators other than like Malaysia's. We only assess them based on academic. But when it comes to evaluate the students whether they can go for tertiary education. They're not just research institutions. There are so many options in a way. There are TVET, there are vocational institutions. Same like in Malaysia, we have different pathway to go after the secondary study. So from here, I want to highlight that the students should not always look at only the university awam is the only way you can go. You have so many pathways you can look for right after once you have finished your secondary studies. So like I said, they're not necessarily just look for the research university. Research university, they have a fixed quota for it. Of course, for research university, normally they will more emphasize on the academic performance. Well, for others like vocational, if you are expert, you are good in sport, of course you can look for those vocational other than the research academics. Okay, so there are different way like not necessary to limit yourself. That's why I think Puan Zarmina we said they are limited. They are not being don't have space to further study in Malaysia, but in the real case, it actually turns out there are so many space in different areas other than the IPTA and IPTS. Of course, if you are come from a not privileged families, IPTS would not be your options. But in IPTA, the opportunities, the quota is limited. Then why not you look for the others approach? And saying that the employability rate, I think Malaysia is now working on that, seeing that the employability rates among the graduates are increasing, the unemployability rates among the graduates are increasing. Maybe some of the university actually looking for solutions for it by matching the market demands with their graduate skill sets. Okay, so I think that's to kind of relate to how the university would design their course later on. That is another topic already.
Yeah, that we shall reserve that for the afternoon, because I think what Ms. Chia is saying will be very viable to be used for the afternoon topics. So, but anyway, I actually agree with one thing that Ms. Chia said about the diversity of the indicators. That's pretty true that our system is there's a revolution in our system at this moment where we only look into academic, but now we have many other parts like the TVET and then vocational schools, and it's not only IPTA or IPTS, there's many other parts for these students. So the exposure for these students to understand that life doesn't end when you don't get an IPTA or IPTS. It's like there's other avenues that we need to look into as well, which at the end of the day, it will just like give you the opportunity to groom your own skills, and you can use it in the outside world. Like you said, the industry, they don't look for academic, they also look for the skills. So yeah, dari kecil, from small students, like the kids need to be understanding what's their strength, what's their weakness, and they have to what do you say, to be narrowed down to that part, so that they can like perform better in future. So yeah, that's quite a good point there, Ms. Chia. Encik Lukman, what's your stake? What's your call on this?
Okay, saya rasa lah pengalaman saya time SPM dulu, saya ada juga buat ujian psikometrik, dan keputusan tu saya rasa memang tak berapa tepat dengan apa yang saya sekarang ni berada. Kerana ingat saya masa dululah, saya lebih kepada marketing, penjualan apa semua tu kan. Tapi bila sekarang ni saya rasa macam ujian yang saya ambil dulu memang tak berapa kena lah dengan jiwa saya. Masa saya nak masuk universiti pun saya masih lagi confused nak ambil bidang yang, sebab saya banyak ni lah, saya banyak mohon luar negara ada, matrik ada, universiti awam ada. Itu yang membuatkan saya keliru lah kan, ke mana bidang saya yang sepatutnya saya pergi. So kat situ kita ni perlu patutnya lah time SPM tu pelajar diberi pendedahan tentang kos-kos yang akan mereka belajar. Kerana kalau kita dah masuk kos tu tapi subjek-subjek yang kita belajar tu kita tak minat, kadang akan memberi efek lah juga pada kita punya performance ataupun kita punya CGPA masa exam. Itu antaranya. Dan yang kedua, saya nampak lah mereka, kawan-kawan saya lah juga, mereka ni dia lebih macam, kawan-kawan saya tu kebanyakannya mereka bidang sains, dan mereka melanjutkan pelajaran mereka time di matrik. Yang mana silapnya mereka yang tak berapa cekap dalam subjek matrik mereka tu menyebabkan mereka ni dapat keputusan yang tak berapa elok. Dan akhirnya mereka dapat kos-kos yang tak berapa bagus lah, kos-kos lelong contohnya di universiti awam. So mereka terpaksa, nak tak nak memang mereka kena masuk. Kalau mereka tak nak, mereka kena masuk universiti swasta. Universiti swasta mahal kan, nak buat macam mana. So mereka masuk bidang yang mereka tak minat. So macam tu je lah. Apa yang mereka harapkan tak dapat. Nak mengharapkan peluang kedua, mereka terpaksa keluar pergi universiti swasta, tapi itulah halangannya, yuran tu yang tinggi. Itu yang menyebabkan desire mereka tu terbantut dekat situ.
Daripada apa yang I dengar daripada Encik Luqman's explanation, nampaknya segregation ni bukan sahaja di bahagian sekolah menengah. Even bila dah masuk ke tertiary education, kita masih berhadapan dengan masalah yang sama. Macam daripada matrix. Kalau result di matrix tidak begitu memberangsangkan, kita masih ada masalah untuk pilih bidang yang kita actually wanted to go. Ya, kita berminat. So it's masalah ni bukan daripada sekolah menengah. Even daripada tertiary pun kita masih ada this issue. So the entire system kita tidak fleksibel enough untuk memberi peluang kepada students kita untuk menceburi bidang yang mereka berminat. So ini adalah satu masalah yang saya boleh nampak daripada the entire discussion di sini. So before saya nak conclude this entire bidang tumpuan kedua, any last says from any one of you? Atau what's any tindakan yang patut the government atau daripada simposium ni, apa yang kita boleh cadangkan?
Buat masa sekarang saya tak ada lagi yang cadangan yang saya rasa we can take the next part, but yang saya nampak satu je, we have to beri peluang, buka peluang. Macam Cik Luqman ada cakap tadi pasal dia punya kawan dia tentang orang kata because of the result is not excellent enough, good enough nak choose bidang yang dia minatkan. So dekat situ saya nampak kita kena ada platform yang memberi peluang kepada golongan-golongan yang macam ni. Maksudnya kalau dia tak boleh ke laluan ni dengan dia kata because kalau IPTS is quite expensive, mahal kan. So mungkin ada benda lain yang boleh jadi indikator macam untuk patut tentang yuran tu. Sebab saya nampak kat situ sebelum ni kita ada beasiswa, everything. Some of IPTS ada yang bagi beasiswa kepada pelajar dia lah untuk yang mana yang tidak berkemampuan kan. But you have to maintain your result lah, you know, because when you get the beasiswa you have to tengok result you kena bagus lah. Tapi kalau you give and take lah kan. So that's all for me.
Yeah, so there's maybe another thing that I boleh top up here. Di Pulau Pinang, we have the industry here. Ada memperkenalkan one institution pengajian bernama PSDC, Penang Skill Development Center, di mana pelajar-pelajar yang not only pelajar yang dah bekerja akan diberi peluang untuk belajar di tahap pengajian diploma eksekutif, like a narrow down a skill pembelajaran, and selepas pembelajaran mereka habis di PSDC, mereka akan diserap masuk ke industri mengikut skill yang mereka belajar. So that's a very good example of how they train the students, like how they train the individuals untuk upgrade their own skill and use the skill untuk untuk like their future in career path mereka. Yeah, so that is one of the good good way of kita boleh cakap cara memupuk the individual into the right career path. So mungkin kalau kita ada lebih banyak institusi yang memberi penekanan untuk pembelajaran atau upgrading skill in such way, kita boleh kurangkan that categorization of the lost boys, because they ada path, they have somewhere to go. So mungkin this is one of the conclusion that I could make. Okay, that's a good one. I think this is getting very interesting. Perhaps kita move on to the next bidang tumpuan. Wow, we are actually on time sebenarnya, even though we started like 15 minutes late. Okay, before that, before we move to the next one, kita tak banyak bercakap mengenai kaunseling Kerjaya. So maybe I would like to go one round of what exactly does, maybe your personal experience, or what do you think of how counseling Kerjaya should be like playing a role untuk create the pathway for these students in a very general, or in a maybe like a minute or two, each one of you. Maybe we can start with Encik Lukman this time probably.
Saya lah sekali kot.
Okay. Okay, then it means I'll go with cara the original Puan Zam.
Okay.
Encik Zam, sorry.
Okay, it's okay. For me lah, kalau kita kata career counselling tu, maksud dah kita dah nampak kepada pendedahan terhadap kerjaya sendiri kepada kanak-kanak ataupun pelajar kan. So basically macam Lokman ada cakap tadi, mungkin dia don't have enough information masa dia orang dekat tahap SPM, nak masuk ke langkah ke degree ke diploma ke. So bila information tu tak cukup, sometimes dia mungkin dia akan choose yang bidang yang orang war-warkan, orang cakap this one good. So maybe kalau kita cakap kalau career counselling ni dekat sekolah tu perlu ada satu sumber ataupun pendedahan yang meluas terhadap career yang ada yang pelajar boleh masuk, boleh try. So bila cukup information, pendedahan dia semua, baru mereka ada tahu laluan mana, which part. Contohnya kalau okay, I punya result tak boleh masuk for diploma, but I like this kind of job in future. So apa yang I boleh, next part, apa yang I boleh take? Contohnya laluan mana yang I boleh ambil kalau I tak boleh nak jalan straight. So jalan yang pusing-pusing kat mana yang I boleh ambil? Sometimes pendedahan tu tak ada. Kadang-kadang dekat sekolah tu sendiri maybe ada kaunseling Kerjaya tu, tapi pelajar sendiri takut nak mendekati the counselor because the stigma yang ada dalam masyarakat kita, counselor is for bad student. Siapa yang jumpa counselor is bad student. Masa zaman saya sekolah sendiri pun, saya tak suka jumpa counselor because bila kita kata counselor ni, alah, mesti dia ada masalah.
Kita dah buat something wrong atau we are not the normal.
Yes. Yes, because that is not our culture. Jumpa kaunselor
That's
bukan
right.
dalam culture kita. So first step, we have to build up the culture yang kita nampakkan counselling ni bukannya satu yang for bad student. Sometimes for good student pun, because they want to get the information everything. So counselor ni kita boleh cakap membudayakan counselling di dalam kalangan pelajar itu sendirilah. Maksudnya pendedahan counselling ni bukan benda yang menggerunkan. Sometimes dia orang takut nak lalu bilik counselling pun takut kena panggil dengan cikgu counselor tu. Oh no. Don't go that way. Pusing. Because nanti cikgu tu akan panggil you, akan soal jawab you. That type of thinking is kita kena tukar lah daripada mungkin daripada kanak-kanak lagi kita kena dedahkan counselling is good, counselling is not for bad student, counselling is for everybody.
So we need to like expose them that counselling is not only untuk bermasalah. Kita boleh dapat banyak lagi information daripada going for a counselling session. Macam tu. Okay. Miss Chia? Miss Chia, we can't hear you.
Sorry, I muted myself.
That happens, no worries.
I have a totally different experience with counseling. Okay, before I enter during my secondary study, of course, I'm almost like the other students. I'm afraid to go to the counseling rooms. But once I enter to my uni study, I straight away joined in some of the non-governmental organizations, and that's where I see how people actually works and how counseling would assist us throughout the development process. I would say I'm one of the people that consistently attend to counseling, one-to-one counseling sessions. And for my NGO even paid thousands of ringgit just to get the counseling service to ensure that we have a continuous development within the organization. So for me, I would think that this counseling session is like a feasibility checks of what I decide to do in the future. Normally, when I approach to my counselors, we have a fixed counselors throughout the terms we in the board. So I would always bring out my up-to-date actions plans of what I want to do, and if I face any dispute or conflicts that I cannot get it settled on my own, then that's where I look for like a third-party auditing or a feasibility check to me. So to me, I would say counseling service is very helpful to me. And even now, I'm in my final year studies, and I'm going to either like further studies to masters or PhDs, or I go out and work for a while. I have definitely bring these ideas to my counselors beforehand.
Okay, that's a different perspective to see counseling at, which is quite different, because this is a personal experience that one thing that we can say that counseling is beyond what we think. It helps us.
But I really appreciate and I think this is how the big company out there practice. They will have a counseling sessions in their company in case their workers or their employee have anything they want to looking for consultations over. So I think it's good if we can change our perspective towards counseling, and instead it's really helpful.
The one thing I realized daripada Miss Chia is private companies having like an individual session for counseling, or they have a unit. This is something very new, because saya pun tak pernah because I've been working in private before this for 11 years. I've never seen any of the companies that I was attached to have a unit counseling. Paling banyak pun mereka akan hantar kita untuk bercakap dengan HR kalau we have an issue. They don't have, like, HR are not those who are trained for counseling, you see. So now we can see the difference that, they are looking into this pedagogy and the mental health and all that in a very serious way. Sampai they can able to like set up a unit counseling for the private sectors as well, which is a good improvement, I would say. right?
Yeah. It depends
maybe
on
some
the
of
company nature.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yes,
and
that's why
I
I
really
said
think this should
some
be
of the
something. Yeah, this should be something that must like should be followed by other companies as well. Yeah, yes, Miss Zam, you wanted to say something?
that it's not dekat Malaysia ni sendiri kita tidak fokuskan kepada kepentingan daripada sudut psikologi dekat pekerjaan, dekat orang kata dalam alam pekerjaan. So maybe in the big company kita ada that part dalam HR dia for counselling for the staff everything kan, sebab sebenarnya sometimes personal issue everything pun akan jadi burn out kepada pekerja itu sendiri. So bagi pendapat saya memang perlu ada counselling ni dalam company itu sendiri. Setiap company perlu ada. Even company yang kecil-kecil, you know, every staff pun perlukan, sometimes dia orang ada tempat untuk dia nak luahkan. So benda tu boleh kecilkan bahagian yang orang kata yang isu bunuh diri, you know, isu kemurungan dalam kalangan pekerja ataupun dalam kalangan pelajar kan. So counselling ni kadang-kadang tempat bagi orang kata bahasa mudah orang yang ni, tempat untuk you know luahkan what do you think, perasaan you, because for me counselling is for your mental health, untuk kesihatan mental. Bila even your body is physical you sihat but you punya mental health tak sihat, it's not good for you, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, that's why we have kena ada dua-dua sihat, your mental health and your physical, baru kita boleh produktif, kita punya kerja kita lebih produktif, everything lebih produktif. So pendedahan awal tu memang macam tadi Miss Chia kata kan, berkenaan dengan dia punya experience yang dia jumpa counselor everything, share everything kan, but it hanya segelintir golongan sahaja, you know, because they have their pendedahan masa awal, counselling is good, right? Dia tak takut kan. So kita kena ada bagi satu membudayakan counselling ni di kalangan masyarakat kita sendiri. So bila kita dah build up that, so dia tak ada rasa gap dia nak pergi jumpa kaunselor. Oh, jumpa kaunselor is okay. Kadang-kadang orang akan tutup rahsia you jumpa kaunselor, tak bagi tahu orang because dia takut ada stigma, you have problem, you have mental health issue, you ada something, you tak bagus. So dia orang tak nak dedahkan kan. So benda-benda ni yang kita kena bagi penerangan, penjelasan kepada kita punya community, masyarakat kita. Counseling is good. Counseling is not for those have problem only. You know, individu yang ada something in their mind. You know, anything you can share. That's my.
I have a very fun fact with the counseling service. When they give it for free, make it easy for people to access. Normally, people would appreciate it, and they will always have a stigma over it. But when it's come in a price for it, and that's where people's chase for the seat to have the counseling session. That is a very funny fact here.
Yes.
But that's pretty true. When you pay, you want to make sure that you have the best benefit of whatever that you're paying through. So you will have to make a full use of it. Encik Luqman, sangat apa pendapat Cik Luqman before we close this bidang tumpuan hari ini?
Apa yang saya nampak lah, kaunseling ni memang para pelajar ni kebanyakannya memang tak berapa minat lah. Mungkin pendedahan lah pada awalnya mereka fikir kaunseling ni tak bagus. Tapi saya rasa sepatutnya guru-guru kaunseling terutamanya mereka kena tonjolkan lah, kena beri pendedahan kepada murid-murid ni. Mungkin perlu wujudkan lah satu subjek kalikan dengan PJK ke, sebab saya nampak PJK ni macam ruang dia terlalu banyak. Mungkin kita boleh sekalikan dengan subjek kaunseling, sebab sesi kaunseling kebanyakannya bila guru-guru kaunseling ada buat program ke apa, saya nampak memang tak ramai, memang mostly diorang memang ponteng lah, ponteng sesi-sesi ni. Sebab mereka tak nampak kepentingan sesi kaunseling ni, terutama tak kira lah mereka bincang soal apa, kerjaya ke, soal masalah ke. Yang mostly pelajar nampak kaunseling ni memang berbincang soal masalah.
Masalah.
So mereka fikir mereka tak ada masalah, so mereka rasa benda ni tak penting. Itu
Betul.
yang ni lah.
Hmm.
Itu yang mereka nampak, saya rasa macam tu lah.
Ya, rasa macam mereka tak nampak yang kaunseling ni akan membantu mereka in future.
Ya.
Bahagian tu
Padahal
mungkin
kaunseling ni lagi
ya.
banyak benda kita boleh bincang. Mereka
Betul.
tak nampak itu.
Daripada this whole thing ni, saya macam tadi Miss Chia and Cik Zamzarina, kita dah out of topic sedikit earlier in initial stage of talking about adult counselling in the working environment. Tapi what we can see from there is walaupun adult, they also need counselling.
Yes.
Apatah lagi kanak-kanak.
Yes.
They do not know that they need, but actually they might need untuk pelbagai aspek. Rasanya this problem is not dengan individu atau kanak-kanak di sekolah menengah only. It's peranan dimainkan oleh setiap orang. The parents, the teachers, the schools atau kawan-kawan or even tempat dia go to tuition. These are people that you don't need like a one counselor yang bertauliah untuk bercakap dengan mereka. Any one of these person can be their counseling mentor or mentee or something like that. Tetapi tak ada, like it all comes back to the fundamental basic yang tak ada exposure for them that counseling is actually very important for them to create their pathway. Because kita boleh rasa that we need counseling when we are adult, when we are thinking like kononnya lah kita guna our left and right brain to think because kita dah go into the the working environment and we tahu kepentingan. Tetapi bahagian kanak-kanak ni mereka they are lost. They do not know that this thing is there and it's needed. So benda macam ni I rasa something the system, the pendidikan, cara pembelajaran semuanya kena berubah untuk kita pull them into our desired way of education. Okay, so that's a good one. Let's move to the next one and also the last bidang tumpuan untuk sesi ni, which is disiplin diri, moral dan kesihatan mental. So macam mana student is getting themselves prepared into the transition? Macam kalau ikutkan my understanding, I'll say that those kids yang sitting in the school, sekolah menengah pun, they are actually sitting in a cocoon, tak exposed to the outside world, walaupun they say that the school is the outside world for them, but mereka tak nampak the actual world out there yet. Mungkin a sedikit like a spark of it they could see when they go into the tertiary education. So macam mana persediaan mereka? Because macam daripada apa yang kita dah berbincang setakat ni, kita nampak nampak sangat yang student ni is how can we say, they are not prepared enough because dia tak di-expose, tak tahu like okay, very simple thing, they are cara pemikiran mereka di sekolah is very narrow, hafal, memorize, and you vomit back in the exam papers. Itu sahaja. Tetapi when you go to tertiary education, it's a lot more than that. You include kepimpinan, kesukarelawan, and pemikiran kritis, critical thinking, and these are things yang they're lacking. Let's take it in a term dalam USM by itself, because I'm from USM. Our tagline untuk pelajar kita, at the end of the day bila dia graduate, we are telling them that kita nak menghasilkan seorang individu yang hebat. Hebat here stands for holistic, entrepreneurial, balanced, articulate thinking. Padahal pelajar ini bila mereka masuk pada tahun pertama tak tahu pun what is this. So how prepared are they from disiplin, moral, kesihatan mental to go to this transition? As usual, Cik Zam.
So basically saya kan counselor dekat IPT. So my experience bila saya jumpa dengan first semester students, you know, bila dia orang just register, datang, everything. So my approach is to apa macam bagi dia orang pendedahan. What is difference when you at school and at IPT? Apa yang beza yang you akan nampak? You know, the simple things, you know, sometimes mungkin dekat IPT you have to living in the hostel, something is the difference when you live in your house, your mom prepare everything for you, you know, your food, everything, and then all your family culture, you know, you dah adapt everything, dah biasa. So bila you transaction, you pergi daripada situ nak masuk ke bidang IPT ni, sometimes benda yang baru you akan jumpa. So this one we don't want you to be culture shock. Kita tak nak dia orang terkejut dengan benda-benda macam ni. But sometimes ada juga individu yang terkejut because dia tak ada preparation masa sekolah. So this one, I think that mungkin bahagian counseling dekat sekolah, you know, you have to prepare them. Prepare the student first. You know, bagi pendedahan awal, mungkin ada buat 2 minggu session pergi ke mana-mana IPT, you know, buat lawatan sambil belajar. Ni kita nampak macam, oh lawatan sambil belajar. You just bagi dia orang enjoy campus life. You know, what is campus life? Macam mana masuk tengok universiti ni macam mana. You know, how your brother, sister study macam mana. Pendedahan awal tu supaya dia tak culture shock. Dia tak pergi tu, dia tak tahu, oh aku nak buat apa ni, I don't know what to do. Kan? So first thing dekat zaman masa sebelum dia nak buat masuk peralihan IPT tu, dia kena ada pendedahan awal apa itu IPT itu sendiri. So apa jenis apa cara kaedah pembelajaran dekat IPT? What the difference IPT and school? Mungkin kat sekolah, you know, jadual, everything that fix. 7:30 you pergi sekolah, apa right now apa 2:30 ya kita balik sekolah, I lupa. So 2:30 habis kan. So dekat IPT your life is not like that, right? You punya campus life you ada, okay, this one you have a group discussion, okay, this hour you have mungkin a little bit test or pop quiz, you know, with your lecturer, everything. So pendedahan ni kita kena berikan kepada mereka macam, you know, dia orang kata first orang kata apa, bagi dia pendedahan awal yang dia boleh nampak. Oh, kalau masuk IPT nanti aku bukan macam ni. You know, this kind of thing I have to know. So itu mungkin daripada faktor sekolah lagi lah. So bagi saya mungkin part counselor dekat sekolah lah. You have to bagi peluang. So jangan buat program macam Luqman cakap kan. Buat program duduk dengar ceramah talk. You know, no. Don't student is feel boring, you know, duduk dengar everything. So maybe you make it fun, make activity yang boleh mendedahkan diorang. This one if you have to know. Bila diorang masuk join venture, join activity, everything, mungkin dia ada kesedaran dekat situlah. So because we have to build up kesedaran tu secara tak langsung kepada mereka. Sebab kalau kita push, sometimes diorang menolak. Macam Luqman cakap lah kan, ponteng lari ke sana sini tak nak masuk. Sebab dia cakap, aku tak ada masalah, I don't have problem. So why I have to join that program? Right. So mungkin daripada situlah kita kena ada pendedahan. Maksudnya bagi dia punya impression awal sekolah apa macam mana. Mungkin dia ada experience macam saya cakap lawatan sambil belajar dekat IPT mana-mana, you know. 2 weeks experience, you know, join the senior, go to class, duduk attend class macam mana. Just macam kalau kita pun mock interview kan kita buat kalau nak pergi career kan. Kita sediakan mock interview for the student yang nak grad, you know, nak pergi bidang kerjaya. So why not we do that mock university, you know, just masuk, duduk, feel the environment of university environment, you know, campus life macam mana, study macam mana. So mungkin sekarang kita ada pertukaran lah because of COVID, kita ada online session everything, online kan. Sometimes macam saya ada dengar lah penceramah, kita punya panel ada sebut yang just on your mic everything and then you go back to sleep. You don't attend the class everything. So but your attendance is there, right? That's happened because dia pendedahan terhadap teknologi tu sendiri. Dia orang tak suka. But some of my students, my clients said that they don't like that kind of class. They want face-to-face class. But unfortunately kita tak boleh buat face-to-face class. So kadang-kadang disebabkan isu tu memberikan dia orang ada masalah isu apa orang kata mental health issue lah. Dia tak boleh, dia stress with the cara dia orang belajar. So pendedahan tu kena ada daripada awal. Because bila dia dah masuk ke alam IPT, dia tak ada rasa stress, dia tak ada culture shock. Benda-benda macam tu kita boleh elak daripada awal lah. That's all for me. Maybe kita ada daripada Miss Chia. I berminat dengan Miss Chia.
I'm very interesting to see what's been shared by Miss Puan Zarina just now. It's very exciting to have a mock university, you see.
Yes.
To be frank, I would say this is the situations when the God closed you the door, but he opened a window for you, you know. When we said comes to the virtual, you see, I have experienced 2 years of virtual e-studies, e-learnings at homes, and we have no face-to-face class. So my lecturers have done a lot of interactive ways, creative ways, just to make the class fun enough and interactive enough, not just through Google Meet. We have used different applications like Jamboard, Gather Town, if you have heard that before. So they have different things, different applications that have used just to make the class fun enough. And then when I talk about mock university, I'm not sure whether you all have noticed that now they even open a virtual zoo visit. So I think that's probably what we can use, how we can utilize the technology to help us to, as a solutions to the current situations that we cannot attend to the university physically. Okay, and then for how we can get the students prepared for the university, I would say we need to have more social activity for the secondary school and primary school students, and that's the main obstacles I'm usually faced when I want to organize a social events, either talks or any kinds of events with the secondary school students. The reason being they actually fall under the Ministry of Higher Education. There is an act that govern their involvement in this kind of social event, and there is a very tedious process if you want to access into the secondary schools and primary school. So I think that's the main boundaries, main gap that we need to solve when we want to get the students prepared for their tertiary education. Because with me myself, before I attend to tertiary education, I'm an athlete for my district, and then at that times I'm very used to leave homes for months or weeks. And maybe if you have, by chance, you have joined in the PLKN I'm a big supporter of PLKN, okay? You have that experience, leaving house, just live by your own, cook yourself, and you have to do all the chores by yourself. And then that is where you get yourself ready so you can live alone in the university, okay? So I think that's pretty much how I see these issues. And with the mental health, I think it's not just surrounded with the transitions of students from secondary to tertiary education. I think basically everyone facing the mental health, especially after the COVID lockdown.
Yeah, actually, it's very interesting that Miss Chia brought out about the PLKN. Tapi saya rasa sekarang they don't have it anymore, right? Because I'm not sure, but that was actually a very good program to train the students to live on a very independent way, in a holistic way. It was like not everything they have to do it on their own. So that was a good training ground for them before they enter the tertiary education. But unfortunately, we do not have it now. But the government should look into bringing that out again, because that's a very helpful thing.
Talking about social activities we used to organize, despite the boundaries I've mentioned just now, the ministry actually, the commentary actually set a boundary for us to access to the university. that's made a very limited access for the students to these all kinds of social activities. So I think the government need to set a mandatory method to force these students start to get used to live alone in the PLKN.
Yeah. Cik Lukman, what would you say, Cik Lukman? What's your call on this?
Okay. Bab disiplin, mungkin pelajar-pelajar juga memang inilah perlu diberi pendedahan, terutama tentang pengurusan masa, pengurusan kendiri, kan, pengurusan inilah semuanya. Bila mana mereka ni baru masuk universiti, kan,
Yeah.
mostly mereka akan ni culture shock, dan mereka ni macam mana nak kata, mereka rasa bebas sebelum ni kan mereka terkurung kan, nak belajar di sekolah berbeza dengan belajar di universiti. Jadi mereka bila merasa bebas, mereka rasa mungkin dunia universiti ni ibarat ni lah syurga bagi mereka lah. Mereka baru berpenat lelah belajar masa SPM. Jadi ini akan membuatkan mereka leka pada waktu universiti. Contohnya time belajar, mereka belajar, bila habis kelas je mereka berehat di bilik, main game, tidur, dan itulah antara aktiviti harian lah bagi golongan-golongan yang tidak tahu menguruskan masa. Jadi solusinya saya nampak mungkin di sekolah juga perlu diwujudkan satu pendedahan kepada pelajar ni tentang isu pengurusan masa lah. Pengurusan masa terutama untuk membuat aktiviti-aktiviti yang berfaedah lah. Itulah saya ni nampak kat situ.
Okay, saya sebenarnya sangat tertarik dengan apa Encik Luqman say, because kita tak sentuh bahagian itu sehingga Encik Luqman bring it out. Memang betul, disiplin diri, moral dan kesihatan mental is sangat penting bukan sahaja dari masa transisi. Bila dah masuk ke pengajian tinggi, Encik Luqman is very true that students ni akan terasa yang mereka sangat bebas daripada terkurung di rumah, di sekolah, and now they are on their own. So it can go either way. Either mereka menggunakan peluang ni dengan baik atau vice versa. They can use it in a very wrong way. So pengurusan masa, pengurusan kendiri is memang sangat penting. Katakan pelajar yang tidak di-expose ke outside world, and suddenly they are so exposed and mereka tak tahu apa benda yang mereka nak kena buat. You know, that and dengan influence of the friends, because sekarang ni you tak ada a filtering gate untuk tell you yang mana betul, yang mana salah. Masa belajar kena belajar, masa kita nak bermain kena bermain. Memang tak ada that filter. So, itu adalah satu situasi yang sangat dangerous juga untuk pelajar tersebut. So, ini lebih kepada disiplin diri sendiri. Even counseling takkan banyak membantu kerana kalau kita tak tahu limitation kita, yang mana kita kena buat, kita tak boleh buat, itu juga adalah satu masalah yang besar lah. Berbalik kepada Miss Chia, just now you were telling that kita punya pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic is actually a gate crasher at this moment untuk kita buat all the face-to-face activity and all that. Penggunaan the technology is essential and very, very important. I'd like to share an experience of one of the schools in USM, the evolution of the school using technology, because I am a graduate of distance education. So saya graduated in 2011. Masa saya mula pelajaran di distance education, it was merely pemberian nota from the lecturer and we have video conference di mana pelajar masih perlu datang secara fizikal ke school untuk sit down in front of the sidang video and menjalankan pembelajaran. The whole thing has evaluated, like the evolution of this era have changed. Daripada sidang video, kita dah bertukar kepada Webex. Kita dah ada Teams. Kita dah macam 100% just online. So ini adalah satu perubahan yang besar. Kalau satu sekolah boleh melakukan this perubahan, school lain atau faculty lain di dalam university should be able to adapt this in a fast mode, because technology is something that is revolving all the time. Masalah di sini adalah will be pelajar how berminat adik untuk membuat pembelajaran melalui like virtual, because mereka berminat untuk perubahan on the technology, tetapi adakah penggunaan teknologi itu untuk like their own studies, education is something that is like making them feel fun, excited. So back to what Miss Chia said, how the lecturer atau how they conduct the classes on a virtual world is very, very important. Kalau tak, like yeah, you said that, they will come in, they will log in, memberi kehadiran, and they'll close and sleep back. They won't be like in front of the PC. So, tak berguna juga.
For me, that's the way is dia punya pelajaran proses itu sendiri kena ada two-way communication even though you in virtual. Your lecturer must be creative enough to make their lecture is fun. Kalau tak fun pun, even macam Chia sendiri duduk kat depan ni, kadang-kadang otak fikir lain because that the talk is not fun enough for you to hear, right? You rasa benda tu tak seronok nak dengar, right? But maybe is you nak kan attendance everything, so itu yang you buka juga, it's not you, I mean students sometimes kan dia tak rasa the topic is good or fun enough dia nak dengar. So for me kalau ada pendedahan daripada awal, sebab saya I have my friends that yang buka taska, so like right now even taska have to make a virtual class with the friends, the teachers dancing in front of the camera, everything, so it's make the class fun. So maybe kita ada some guideline lah untuk sediakan guideline for education for lecturers.
Is Miss
Zam
Zarina drop out?
Hello.
Ya, Cik Zam. Boleh dengar ke? Okay. Yes.
Maksudnya mungkin kita ada sediakan modul or something yang boleh kita dedahkan kepada tenaga-tenaga pengajar kita sekarang. What type of things that they can do to make the class fun, on virtual class, Maybe we can share that with the education semuanya, bahagian-bahagian lain lah, from mungkin daripada kanak-kanak, sampai university level.
Right.
I would say this would be an experience sharing come from me with my 2 years e-learning experience. So I personally think that it's totally put the burdens on the lecturers, how he or she wants to motivate the students just to engage in the class. Last times when in physical class, if a lecturer just saw you, then normally you will be panicked and then you will stay focused with the class. But now when in virtuals, some of them not even want to open the cameras and mute all the time, and then in the reality, it just go back to bed. So I would say that is the hard that's a big gap that we need to look into. When it comes to e-learning, and so far after 2 years of e-learning, there is not even clear guidelines on how the lecturers should conduct the e-learning classes. So that is something that the institutions or even the ministry should look into, how they want to set a guideline such to ensure the students keep motivated and engaged in the class. And one of the studies because I'm taking environmental management, so managing peoples is one of the course that we have taken. So we have conducted a study on how we can improve the efficiencies having this kind of virtual classes course. So one of it is for sure we have to open the camera, and then we have to go detect what kind of what things that pull you back not to open your camera, and then why Malaysian people are more shy in front of the camera, not confident enough just to speak out, not face to face, but in virtual platform. So there's a few things that we have tackled, and one of it is you have to dare to open your camera and make sure you wear properly.
Yeah, talking about it, that I would like to share one recent experience that I had with the son of a friend of mine. He is just like 5 years old. And sekarang kan they have this PDPR through online studies, and it's a tadika. So he was so bored with the classes until the teacher minta dia buka the camera and open. Then the teacher asked, okay, do you want to study or what do you want to do? He was so openly, so vocal, and he just said, saya nak tidur. He just said that, saya nak tidur.
Oh my
So I was like,
God.
yeah, I was there when he said that. I was like, how uninteresting would it be for him to actually say it out? Because dalam umur 5 tahun, he doesn't have a filter. He'll just say whatever he wants to say. So he just says that he wants to tidur. So cara the teacher have to bring up the entire session in a fun way is a very, very important thing. Yeah.
And I don't think it's easy, like, especially for the secondary
It's
and
not.
primary students, and even the Statika schools. They want to shift from a physical to virtual. It's never easy to do that. So,
True.
of course, for uni students, we already have equipped a laptop with smartphones. But
True.
with secondary students, you see how struggle they are learning now. Because I have kids in my house now, so
True.
they use their phone to do homework. You know how struggles. I don't know any of you have experienced this. You use Canva to use your phone to access to Canva and then design the posters using your phone.
True.
And
True.
you have to open the docs in your phones. And at the time, they don't even have a Gmail account because they
That's
don't
right.
used to it. So
Right.
it's never easy, and at the end all these burdens fall to the parents, where they don't even know what to do. So I would say this is a vicious cycle unless there is a clear guidelines from the executive, from the university or the institution itself to solve this.
Basically, we should not say about transition of student from sekolah menengah to pengajian. It's like the entire people are transferring into another kind of world, the digital world. So everybody has to adapt to that. Okay, so this is a very good session, but we just have about 15 minutes. I have a personal question that this is maybe stigmatizing to one particular group that mungkin maybe I can ask this out of my own experience. So just now, initial stage of this Bidang Tumpuan 3, we were talking something about culture shock. Cik Zam brought this up, and also Ms. Chia and Cik Lukman brought this up. We were talking in a very holistic way of how culture shock will affect the students when they when they're doing the transition from sekolah menengah to Pengajian Tinggi. But there is a group of students, I'm not sure how many of you have experienced it, but personally I have experienced because I came from a gender-based school. So I was from a girls' school, and all the while I'm only exposed to a girls' school, and all of a sudden transitioning into a co-educational environment. How much do you think the culture shock will affect this kind of group of students? Because bila saya masuk, when I went into IPTA, what happened was it was too much for me due to the two genders there. I was never exposed to that. And we had this one what we call a trend at that time. I'm really not sure whether they still have the trend, or maybe because I'm working in the university and this kind of thing doesn't come to my ear at this, like, I mean, I don't hear it at this moment, but I'm not sure whether it's happening or not. We have this trend called ragging. And the ragging is used as a prospect atau a concept that those seniors tell that you use ragging as a platform for you to adjust yourself to the Pengajian Tinggi the environment. How
To mix around, you know.
to mix
To
around?
mix
Yeah.
around
So
with,
I personally
your
went through that.
Your senior do the ragging for the juniors, right? So
That's right. That's right.
that's
And
happened in my life.
yeah, it happened, and it was
During
not a good
my studies,
experience.
masa zaman I study dulu memang ada, you know, the
Yeah.
the 1 week session with senior and junior session, you ada like sister or brother angkat like that. So,
Right.
you know,
Right.
they will guide you in the way you studies everything, you know, how the campus life going on, something like that. But
Yeah.
maybe ada segelintir yang take that as a opportunity to ragging,
Opportunity.
you know? Yes.
That's right.
So
That's right.
that this
Saya personally feel that term ragging by itself is not right. But
yes,
itulah terma yang digunakan untuk mix
yes.
around. But it goes either way. You either have a double culture shock or you maybe get yourself mingled in. So apa
Yes.
pendapat all of you on this thing? Because it might help, it might not help. I'm not sure. But definitely in my case, it did not help. So I'm very sure that many people go through the same as well.
But for me, this part bagi saya zaman saya study dulu lah is helping me to mix around because zaman saya walaupun saya sekolah yang ada lelaki perempuan everything, but when you in the new environment studies kan masuk IPT everything, so dekat situ kita ada rasa macam you masuk dalam, you know, like you masuk zoo, you tengok what difference, you know. So
Yeah.
this environment is different from before. So you like macam mana you nak mix around dalam tu. So my seniors is helping me to mix around, but
Okay.
segelintir my friends ada yang, you know, selalunya boys lah, you have that ragging. Because before this, my senior ragging me, so I ragging you.
Yeah,
You know, that stigma.
that stigma, correct.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So sometimes adalah experience yang after I jump in counseling, some of the students share with me lah, they ragging type things that like suruh basuh baju, you know, like you have to wash their clothes.
Yeah, this is the thing. This is what I'm trying to say, because these are the kind of thing that the wrong ragging. And kalau you tak buat, you will be like pushed aside.
Yes,
Which-
yes.
Which pushes you to a corner, which is for mental health is very bad.
Yep. This
Yeah.
maybe some of segelintir golongan yang ada dalam isu ni, sebab it's not like everybody take part that ragging, bully, you know, bullies in IPT, you know. So but yang saya nampak dekat sini maybe pemantauan in the bahagian itu sendiri, maksudnya dia bidang lecturers ke ataupun bahagian pentadbiran, you know, bila dia ada mix around activity with the senior and juniors, still kena ada bahagian luar yang memantau that activity.
Yes.
You know, tengok adakah aktiviti yang dijalankan itu adalah aktiviti sihat ataupun the wrong way, ke arah yang salah, you know, ragging means. But sometimes ragging tu yang simple ragging, I mean like ask you to sing a song, you know, in front of everybody, maybe to build up your
self-esteem.
Yes, your soft skill, build up your soft skill, you know, to be the outspoken, senang nak bercakap. Sometimes bila zaman sekolah maybe dia introvert, dia tak ada friends, you know, maybe dia punya scope dia punya kawan-kawan dia tu is not memberi dorongan good enough. So maybe masa dia masuk IPT, that time tu untuk dia nak mix around, build up confidence level, soft skill dia yang mana-mana yang ada. So dia ada good and bad lah. Maksudnya situasi tu depends on apa yang orang tu ada, the experience lah. Yes.
Experience of it, true. What about Miss Leong? Miss Chia, you wanted to say something?
With ragging, I would just conclude it needs to be conducted carefully. Carefully in a way like what Zarina said just now. It has a healthy raggings, a good raggings, and a bad raggings. Reason being, I have a same experience, like almost like both of you as mentioned just now. So when the first years were enters, the seniors were actually ragging you. In UPMs, the situation is even worse. Not just helping them to wash the shirts, wash toilets. We even have some physical training, and you have to stay up until 4 in the morning. So. But then my perspective changed when I joined in Palapes. The reserve officer under trainings in university. So that times I totally changed my perspective. The philosophy behind is because when you have a batch of peoples and then you've been ragging together, you have tasted the bitter sides of the trainings, and that's that's the point you can be more closer to each other. Because these are the people that have the same feelings as you do during the raggings, the process.
The ragging
you go through it together, and then that's where you come close to each other. So during that times, my trainers actually tell me clearly, this ragging is for your goods too, and then they clearly states how we're gonna do, how we do this and that, and then that's where once I understand the philosophy behind, I feel I am more and willing to undergo the whole process lah. Even though it is quite thriving, when you join in Palapes, I'm not sure whether you have seen the Palapes members actually have to run in the campus in the morning, probably like twice a week. And there's a lot more things happen.
The training.
Isu ragging ni saya tak berapa ni sangat sebab bila masuk IPT pada minggu awal-awal tu kan ada ni kan, minggu saya kenal apa semua tu.
Orientation,
Dan para senior memang akan jadi mentor kita lah. Dan saya pun tak berapa itu sangat dengan senior-senior. Saya hanya berkawan dengan rakan-rakan biasa je. Terus saya nampak isu ragging di universiti ni macam berkurang sikit lah berbanding dengan di sekolah. Macam isu ragging hanya disebabkan denda-denda menyanyi tu saya nampak perkara biasa. Tak berapa sensitif sangat. Tapi bila benda ni ada juga senior-senior yang mengambil kesempatan lah ke atas junior-junior, pertama yang mereka yang baru masuk ke universiti. Sebab mereka ni kebanyakan yang junior ni dia bela-bela sikit lah kan bila masuk universiti. So senior ni mostly adalah segelintir yang ambil kesempatan, macam yang ada yang ni kan ambil kesempatan, contohnya ada yang nak cari pasangan ke apa itu semua. Bila mereka nampak junior ni macam berbela sikit, kat situ dia nampak ada ruang kosong untuk mereka ambil kesempatan. So saya nampak kat situ mungkin perlu diberi pengawasan lah pada senior-senior ni dalam membuat program terutamanya.
So basically kita boleh cakap that very subjective lah topik ni. It's a very subjective thing. There's a good ragging, there's a bad ragging. Cara kita absorb and kita change it to adapt our mindset. Kita kena tahu the limitation. Yang mana betul, yang mana tak betul and all that. So it still comes back to the individual. Individual kena tahu.
Saya nak tambah sikit saja. Yang saya nampak dekat sini, first thing, everything yang you nampak, first thing positive part first. So when you look at the positive part, you akan nampak the things that good for you. You know, when you think that negative part first, you will feel that is bad for you. So
automatically diri akan tolak.
Yes. Yes, that's mindset kan. Kita dah memang ada kan. So first kita build up positive thinking. So everything happens must think of positive first. Contoh macam saya cakap isu COVID-19 right now, right? So positive way I feel that kita dapat pendedahan baru yang kita guna teknologi untuk belajar. Sebab because sebelum ni Malaysia kita tak terdedah dengan secara meluas berkenaan dengan virtual class everything ataupun virtual talk, semua orang nak buat face to face, datang, drive everything kan. So sekarang kita dah ada pendedahan. So bagi saya everything happens dia ada positif dia, bahagian positif dia. So don't just look at the negative part, look at the positive part first. So dekat situ kita nampak bila kita ada positive part tu kita akan nampak lah okay, negative part ni kalau kita boleh orang kata apa,
tolak aside, put aside.
After kita katakan benda tu affect you, the negative part is affect you punya lifestyle, everything. So you have to think about how to settle that problem. So maksudnya first thing the positive part. Kalau yang negative part tu you can ignore it, just ignore it because the negative part just tak ni kan. So bila dia bagi kalau dia affect your life, affect everything in your life, kita take note that what kind of thing that I have, macam mana saya nak, orang kata apa, nak melawan, bukan orang cakap apa, mengatasi that issue.
Mengatasi, overcome, yeah.
Yes, overcome that issue. So for me, first think positive and then you will feel that easy way. You akan nampak benda tu mudah bila you think positive first. Right? Because kalau positive thinking tu macam penerimaan kita terhadap benda tersebut.
Betul. Yeah. Okay, that's a good one. So kita pun we just have left another 3 minutes. I pun nak wrap up this entire session. So I rasa we had a real good session walaupun kita are just like 4 of us, but you know I really felt that it was a very good discussion that we had. So thank you. Saya harap input-input yang kita share pada session ni akan didocumented dan nanti kita boleh further use for penambahbaikan untuk sistem transisi pelajar-pelajar kita daripada pendidikan sekolah ke pengajian tinggi. Dengan the least permasalahan daripada apa yang mereka hadapi sekarang, we try to less down their issues for them to meet their goal. At the end of the day, the main agenda di sini is kita nak satu sahaja, which is education for all, regardless what's their metric, their merits are and all that. We just need them to grow themselves on where they excel the most. So I hope this is a session that can help to help with that agenda. So thanks to everyone who participated, and I would like to end this session now. All the great things comes from the God and all the least unexpected hiccups comes from me and my team, and we would like to apologize if there is any. Thank you once again, and nanti kita jumpa lagi bahagian petang ya.
Okay, thank you everyone.
Bye.
Thank you everyone. Bye.
Right.